Sean Strickland has broken his silence on his next potential fight in the UFC. The former middleweight champion, who's been serving a suspension following his involvement in a brawl at a Tough Enough event, recently spoke with MMA Junkie about his plans for a return to the octagon. Strickland, known for his no-filter attitude, made it clear that a rematch with Israel Adesanya isn't something he's chasing. "I don't want Izzy. I'm not going to fight Izzy. I think that's the easier fight for me," Strickland said. "But I want to fight that little chin. I want someone like Fluffy. That fight puts me back in title contention, especially with him because all he does is grapple. He's like the American Chimaev. If I go out there and out-wrestle him for 5 rounds, that's what I'm looking for." The outspoken fighter emphasized that he wants meaningful fights, bouts that push him back toward a title shot rather than easy wins. "More fights that put me back in the title picture," he added. "I'm one of the best grapplers in the UFC. I just don't always get the chance to show it, but I know I can hang with the best." Strickland's comparison of his potential opponent to Khamzat Chimaev hints at his desire to prove himself against high-pressure wrestlers. He's eager to remind fans that beyond his striking, he possesses serious grappling ability. "The reason I want to fight him out of anybody is just to show that 25 minutes of the American Chimaev. That's what I want." Although Strickland is still completing anger management training as part of his suspension, he mentioned that if the UFC offers him a fight before the end of the year, he's willing to finish the program early to return sooner. Otherwise, he's comfortable making his comeback in January. This signals a motivated and focused Strickland, ready to re-enter the title conversation, not through talk, but through another statement performance inside the cage. Before moving on to the next news, we have a quick request for you. We're always working to improve our content and truly value your support. If you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon, it would mean a lot to us. That way, you'll never miss an update. Move on to another news. Garry has turned up the heat ahead of his upcoming clash with Belal Muhammad, taking aim at the former champion's fight strategy. In a recent Instagram video, Garry criticized Muhammad for what he called a poor tactical approach during his last fight against Jack Della Maddalena at UFC 315 in Montreal. Garry didn't hold back his thoughts, saying, "Belal Muhammad, when he was defending his world title in Montreal, thought that he could outbox a boxer. He was an idiot, and he was wrong. I hope he thinks he can try that with me. It'll make my life easier." The Irish fighter, known for his sharp wit and confidence, made it clear that he believes Muhammad's decision to stand and trade punches with a technically superior striker was a major mistake. Garry, who prides himself on precision striking and high fight IQ, warned that if Muhammad repeats the same approach, he'll be in for a rough night inside the octagon. While the UFC has not yet made an official announcement regarding their fight, both Garry and Muhammad have expressed expectations that a victory could earn them a title shot. With each fighter looking to solidify his place at the top of the welterweight division, the stakes are incredibly high. The rivalry between the two has quickly become one of the most talked about storylines in MMA. Garry's verbal jabs are not just for show. He's aiming to get inside Muhammad's head before fight night. Meanwhile, Muhammad, known for his relentless pressure and wrestling-heavy style, has yet to respond in detail to Garry's comments. As the anticipation builds, fans can expect an intense showdown when these two finally meet. For Garry, it's another chance to prove he's among the elite. For Belal Muhammad, it's an opportunity to silence a fast-rising contender who's made his name as much with his words as with his performances. Move on to another news. Reports have surfaced suggesting that Magomed Ankalaev stepped into the octagon against Alex Pereira at UFC 320 while nursing a broken rib. MMA journalist Leo Guimarães revealed that Ankalaev sustained the injury roughly 20 days before the bout, but chose to fight despite concerns from members of his team. According to Guimarães, parts of Ankalaev's camp urged him to withdraw, but the decision was ultimately his to make. He even shared video evidence showing the Russian being treated by medical staff prior to the fight. The revelation shocked the MMA community. Analyst Luke Thomas commented, "Fighting with a broken rib is such a remarkably bad idea. I assume the commission didn't know, but his inner circle certainly did. Sending him out there in that condition, especially against Pereira, was begging for a catastrophe." Fans were divided on the issue. Some argued that the injury explained Ankalaev's quick defeat, while others insisted it made no difference. "You got knocked out in a minute and a half, so the excuse is invalid," one fan wrote. Another added, "I believe he fought with a broken rib, but it had nothing to do with him getting cracked by that right hand." Others speculated that Pereira's team might have been tipped off about the injury, influencing their aggressive game plan from the start. Ali Abdelaziz, Ankalaev's manager, seemed to confirm that his fighter was dealing with issues during camp. In a post-fight statement, he wrote, "There's a lot of things that happened with Ankalaev in his camp, but it's for him to talk about. If it was up to me, he shouldn't have fought, but he's a grown man who makes his own decisions and lives by his actions." Meanwhile, former champion Jiří Procházka shared that he had to calm himself amid tensions with Ankalaev Ankalaev's camp before the fight. Speaking on Ankalaev, the Ariel Helwani Shaung Prochaska said, "My coach told me not to get involved or focused on anyone else. I'm glad I listened." He also admitted that seeing Pereira's emotional victory reignited his motivation. "That fight reminded me why I love this sport. I want to win, no matter the risk." As for Ankalaev, the full extent of his injury and recovery timeline remains unclear. However, the revelation adds another dramatic layer to what was already one of the most talked about moments of UFC 320. Alex Pereira's stunning first-round knockout victory to reclaim the light heavyweight championship. Move on to another news. Rumors are swirling that a massive lightweight clash between Ilia Topuria and Justin Gaethje could headline UFC 324. Over the past few weeks, speculation has grown regarding Topuria's next appearance, with fans initially expecting him to return for the final pay-per-view of 2025. However, new reports indicate that the UFC may be targeting its first pay-per-view event of 2026 for his return, with Gaethje emerging as the frontrunner to face the reigning lightweight champion. Topuria's dominant performance over Charles Oliveira in June solidified his status as one of the most dangerous fighters in the division. After capturing the lightweight title, many anticipated another appearance before year's end, especially since Topuria had previously called out his rival Paddy Pimblett. Yet with time running short in 2025, the UFC seems focused on kicking off the new year with a bang by featuring Topuria on the January card. During a recent media interaction, UFC President Dana White revealed plans to stack the January event, hinting at several blockbuster bouts. Adding Topuria to the lineup would undoubtedly elevate the card's star power, given his rapid rise in global popularity. Spanish outlet Eurosport España reported that the UFC intends to host the event in Los Angeles, with Gaethje penciled in as Topuria's opponent. The potential matchup has caught fans by surprise, as many expected Pimblett to be next in line. However, Dana White has already confirmed that the winner of the November 22 fight between Arman Tsarukyan and Dan Hooker will become the official No. 1 contender. This makes the Topuria-Gaethje bout more of a high-profile non-title clash, or perhaps a strategic move to keep both fighters active. It's possible that the UFC views Gaethje as a bigger draw in the US market, or that they want to save the Topuria versus Pimblett rivalry for a later, even more lucrative event. Either way, the idea of Topuria facing one of the most violent and experienced strikers in MMA has already set the fight world abuzz. If finalized, UFC 324 could mark an explosive start to 2026. Move on to another news. Dana White is facing significant backlash from fans and analysts after rumors emerged that Justin Gaethje could face Ilia Topuria for the lightweight title at UFC 324. While the potential matchup could be an explosive start to the new year, many within the MMA community believe Gaethje hasn't earned another title shot, especially considering his recent performances and talks of retirement. Social media erupted shortly after reports surfaced. One fan wrote, "Putting Gaethje in January? UFC is throwing Paramount a blood sacrifice to kick off that deal." Another added, "Gaethje's style versus Ilia's power is going to look like a 4K snuff film." Many argued that awarding Gaethje a title fight is absolute promotional malpractice, with one critic saying, "Who wants to see brain-dead Gaethje in another title bout?" Fans also expressed frustration that the UFC is bypassing a more marketable and fan-favorite matchup between Topuria and Paddy Pimblett. "Anything other than Ilia versus Paddy is a missed opportunity," one commenter wrote. "The fight is right in the palm of UFC's hands. Don't risk the wrath of the MMA gods by making the Gaethje fight." The backlash extended beyond fan circles, with several media personalities questioning the business logic behind the decision. Many highlighted Gaethje's past statements about retiring soon, arguing that the UFC should not risk putting the belt on a fighter who may not be around to defend it. If Gaethje gets a title shot in 2026, what a horrible way to kick off the new Paramount deal, one journalist posted. He has zero business fighting for the belt next. As criticism mounted, some fans mocked Dana White's recent comments about building the best card ever, labeling him a terrible promoter for even considering the matchup. With the UFC 324 card still unconfirmed, many are hoping the promotion reconsiders and books the long-awaited Topuria vs Pimblett showdown instead. For now, the debate continues, and the pressure on Dana White is only intensifying. Move on to another news. Former interim bantamweight title challenger Sean O'Malley has outlined a clear and blunt game plan for how he believes Merab can be defeated, and he's convinced the only viable path is by knockout. Speaking about the dominant Georgian champion, O'Malley argued that Merab's relentless cardio and grinding pace make winning a 5-round decision against him extraordinarily difficult, if not impossible. Consequently, the only realistic strategy, in O'Malley's view, is to land a fight-ending strike. O'Malley acknowledged the uphill nature of the task. Merab has repeatedly nullified opponents through pace, pressure, and suffocating wrestling. Oli himself has been finished and dominated by the Georgian previously. Still, the former title challenger believes his knockout power sets him apart at bantamweight. From a pure knockout standpoint, nobody hits cleaner or sharper than me in this division, he said, stressing that his power gives him a unique opportunity to end Merab's reign. Central to O'Malley's analysis is the notion that Dvalishvili's growing confidence in striking creates openings. As Merab becomes more comfortable trading strikes, O'Malley argues he leaves himself exposed to counters. That, O'Malley insists, is the vulnerability any challenger must exploit. You have to land that shot. You have to snipe him. When he gets reckless in the stand-up, gaps appear. Although outspoken and dismissive of the idea that many others can dethrone Merab, O'Malley tempered his comments with pragmatic aims. He is targeting a marquee spot on the White House card in 2026, but recognizes the path back to contention requires rebuilding momentum. I need a couple wins before I earn that shot again, he admitted, demonstrating awareness that intent must be matched by recent results. Meanwhile, Merab remains committed to bantamweight despite speculation of a move, and a potential rematch with Petr Yan in December has been mooted as the champion's next step. The December pay-per-view slot would offer Merab a quick return should he choose it. O'Malley's message is straightforward. Merab is nearly impossible to beat on points. The only decisive route is to stop him. Whether that belief is arrogance or realism will be tested if O'Malley secures the necessary wins to meet the Georgian again. Until then, his prediction remains a provocative blueprint and a challenge that will shape discussions about the division's toughest matchups. Move on to another news. Just a day after Khamzat Chimaev made headlines by calling out Alex Pereira for a potential heavyweight clash, the focus unexpectedly shifted when former UFC middleweight champion Sean Strickland revealed shocking details about their past sparring session. Speaking candidly, Strickland claimed he had completely dominated Chimaev in training and exposed what he described as the Chechen fighter's mental and physical weaknesses. According to Strickland, Chimaev struggles to maintain his wrestling intensity beyond the first round. For one round, the guy can grapple, but once the scramble phase ends, he just quits and turns it into a kickboxing match, Strickland said, referencing Chimaev's bout with Gilbert Burns as an example. He added that once Chimaev realizes he can't completely overwhelm an opponent, his aggression fades and his focus shifts to striking, which Strickland believes is a major flaw in his fighting style. Strickland also broke down why Chimaev's ambitions to fight Pereira might not be as straightforward as fans think. He explained that Pereira's natural stance, balance, and powerful core make him extremely difficult to take down. People don't realize how strong Pereira is in those positions, Strickland noted. His reaction time and base make him one of the hardest guys to wrestle in the division. Currently serving the final months of a suspension for an incident at an MMA event, Strickland is eager to return to action following his decision loss to Dricus du Plessis. During his interview with MMA Junkie, he didn't shy away from issuing a direct challenge of his own, hinting that he would gladly step in to face Chimaev. I've trained with all the guys he's going to fight, Strickland said. I was mauling him in grappling. I've been training with these killers my whole life. There's nobody in that division who understands that grind like I do. When asked about his next potential opponent, Strickland suggested that a matchup with Fluffy Hernandez might be in the works, though he emphasized his real motivation lies in testing himself against the toughest fighters available. Move on to another news. The UFC featherweight division is on fire right now, with several top contenders battling to secure their shot at gold. Following impressive victories by both Diego Lopez and Lerone Murphy, most fans believe Murphy was next in line for a title opportunity, especially since Lopez had already challenged for the belt. But the situation has taken an interesting twist with the emergence of Youssef Zalal. Zalal just notched a massive victory over former interim title challenger Josh Emmett, extending his winning streak to an impressive 8 consecutive fights. Riding high on momentum, he's now publicly calling out Lerone Murphy for a title eliminator bout. According to Zalal, the matchup makes perfect sense if Lopez is granted a rematch with the current featherweight champion. Speaking recently with Ariel Helwani, Zalal explained that both he and Murphy are on strong trajectories, and a fight between them would definitively determine who deserves the next title shot. I beat Murphy and finish Murphy, I get a title shot, Zalal stated confidently. However, there's a complication in the mix. Movsar Evlev, the undefeated Russian contender, contender, is reportedly healthy again and preparing for a return. His elite wrestling and perfect record could once again disrupt the division's title picture. Adding even more intrigue, former bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling is coming off a major win over Brian Ortega, making the 145-pound division one of the most competitive in the sport right now. With so many elite fighters hovering near title contention, UFC matchmakers have a tough decision ahead. When asked whether Murphy would actually accept the challenge, Zalal admitted he wouldn't blame him for prioritizing a direct title shot instead. "He's talking about the belt, and I don't blame him," Zalal said. If Diego gets his rematch, Murphy might wait 9 months to a year, depending on how that fight plays out. But if things go differently, it could be me and Murphy next. Zalal made it clear that he's putting his name firmly in the mix and won't stop campaigning until he gets the recognition he deserves.